Hey there guys, I'm back doing another collection video. I know I've been doing a lot of these throughout this year, but I promise I will have other content ready for you before this year closes out. I know I said I wouldn't be focusing on YouTube so much, but I think we're closing in at the end of the year. I have a couple of video ideas I want to get out before the year ends out. So first idea, of course, is a collection video for my PS4 collection. I actually didn't notice, but my PS4 collection has gotten significantly bigger. I bought a couple of limited run games, which I'll go through those first before I get through the main titles, but I bought a couple of those throughout this year, along with some other things that you'll see within the video. So enough for me talking, let me get to the games. Freedom Planet, this is pretty much a Sonic game, but without Sonic characters, I believe. I've actually never played it. I think I'm going to keep it sealed, and I'm going to purchase it either on Steam or the PlayStation Network store, most likely Steam, because I think if it's on PC, I would much rather get it on PC, but I have the physical version because I like physical games and physical media in general, so there's that. I guess I'll do all three of these together. I got the Jak and Daxter games on PlayStation 4. These are limited run. They've never released a collection on the PlayStation 4 of these games, which I don't think they are, because they did do this limited run, deal. Naughty Dog X limited run games. They agreed to go and print these games with the Jak and Daxter series. They still need to do Jak X. And to those people that buy all four of those games, we're supposed to get like a mock-up cover of like Jak 4 or something like that. But yeah, my opinion of the Jak and Daxter series, I like Jak 3 the most, but it's been years since I played these games. I know Jak and Daxter 1 is, without a doubt, a really, really good game. Jak 2, I'm still a little iffy on it. I haven't replayed it since I was younger. But Jak 3 is still like my favorite out of the trilogy. And Jak X, that combat racing game, it's good. It's just that it literally corrupted my memory card, but thankfully I had all of those saves backed up, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But the game on the PS2 will do that to your PS2 memory card, just by the way. Psychonauts on the PlayStation 4, they did a limited run of this game as well. Pretty much bought it because I do have it on the PS2 physically, but I wanted to go and get it on the PS4 because why not? You know, if I want to go and play it on the PS4, now I can physically and without having to worry about, downloading it and stuff like that. Last limited run game I have here is ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove. I've actually never played a ToeJam and Earl game, but I do plan on playing the two before jumping into this one eventually. But yeah, limited run game, and that's pretty much why I bought it, because I'm probably gonna want to try out ToeJam and Earl in the future, and if I could have the newest game in physical form, that would be really, really cool. So now let's get into the regular PlayStation 4 games. I got Assassin's Creed Origins. I believe I bought this game for really, really cheap the year it came out because there was like a weird glitch on Best Buy or Amazon or something like that. One of those websites, they had like a error in like the sales, and like this was discounted for like a heavy amount. So I bought it thinking that I was gonna play it. When did this come out? 2017. I bought it that year for like really cheap, like less than like $30, I think, and I've never played it yet, but I heard really good things about it because this is the return to the Assassin's Creed series, and supposedly the newest one, Odyssey, is also really good. But the last Assassin's Creed game I personally played was Assassin's Creed 3. I bought Assassin's Creed 4 on my Wii U, but I've never played it, so maybe this will have the same fate. I honestly hope not, because I really do want to jump into the Assassin's Creed series one day, and maybe I'll do it with Origins. A Way Out. This game is very, very interesting. It is a co-op story-driven video game, and it acts like a movie, but you need two players to play this game. You can't play this game by yourself. You need a second player, and because of that, this game is very interesting, and the story that this game tells is pretty good. It's not gonna like blow your mind or anything, but like it will keep you entertained throughout the runtime of this game. It's less than 6 hours. I think it's like 3 to 4 or something like that, which is pretty good for a game like this, because you will be playing with someone else. It is a unique co-op adventure, as it says on the back of the box. And yeah, it is pretty good. It is available on Steam as well, and you can play co-op with just one copy of the game. both players do not need to own a copy, which is very good. I'm glad Hazlight, I believe is the developers, they thought of that ahead, and I'm glad EA allowed them to do that, because you know how EA is, are pretty greedy with money. But it turns out that they were like, yeah, you know, it makes sense, because if you had to buy 2 copies of the game, that would definitely probably have hurt you know, reception of the game itself. But overall, this is a pretty good game. It is very unique, and I recommend everyone play it. Yeah. Next game we got here is Batman Arkham Knight. Okay, now this is probably my least favorite game within the Batman Arkham series. Now that doesn't necessarily make it a bad game. Like, the game functions kind of. I know the PC release of this game, it was notoriously bad when it launched. I think they fixed it, I hope. But the game itself, the reason why it's my least favorite is because the story is extremely predictable once you get to like halfway through the game or something like that. Probably like less than that. The story is easily like predictable, especially if you know like Batman characters, which you will if you are playing a Batman game. And the gameplay, it like heavily utilized the Batmobile, which like there's nothing wrong with the Batmobile itself. It's the way that Rocksteady decided to use the Batmobile. It's all about like this tank combat, and like it's just so annoying and really like repetitive and boring, and like I was just really not into it. But yeah, it's still a pretty decent game, I will say that, but it's not the best Batman Arkham game. As the last one within this Arkham series, it's not the best one, unfortunately. I would still say it has to go to either the first game or Arkham City. I still have a soft spot for Origins, but I could see why a lot of people don't like it. But moving on. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This was a PlayStation 4 exclusive when it launched. Now it's available on pretty much every single platform now. Xbox One, Switch, PC. But yeah, this game is really good. It is extremely faithful to the original PS1 games. And for a person that has never actually finished the first game, going through the first game in this Insane Trilogy was really, really fun. It still has that same challenge and really like bullshit, pardon my language, but really like BS, like, you know, level design and stuff like that. But the second and third game are still really, really good. I still really love the second game. It's probably my favorite out of the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy. And you can play as Coco too. They even added some like other like DLC content and whatnot. But yeah, this is a really, really good like remaster of a PlayStation 1 game. Or should I say games? Moving on, we got the Dark Pictures Anthology Man of Medan. I put this with D because it starts with Dark Pictures. Technically, it starts with the Dark Pictures, but anyways, the Man of Medan. I recently did a video on this, so I'm going to keep this very, very brief. The game doesn't hit its mark at all, but I can see what they were going for. But it was extremely disappointing playing this game with my friends because we were expecting, you know, something pretty good, because Until Dawn, we never played, or I never played Until Dawn, but some of my friends did, and I watched some of them play it, and I watched streamers play it, and that game is really, really good. And you know, the game they did before the Man of Medan as well, I forget the title of the game. It's going to be on your screen right now when I'm editing it, but that game was really, really good. It was a PSN title. It wasn't even that expensive, but that game is much better than the Man of Medan, and it just sucks because they were trying to go for this multiplayer sort of like experience, but it just didn't work. Days Gone. Alright, you guys forgot this game came out this year, right? I totally did. So I bought the game this year because I actually had 100% intentions of playing the game, finishing it, and doing a game review on it. But it turns out the game is super long and it's super boring. So the story itself, obviously this is a zombie game. This is a post-apocalyptic open world game, which is kind of unique because I don't think we've ever had a open world game where it was set in like the zombie apocalyptic world. And the way that Days Gone did it was kind of interesting, but not interesting enough to keep me engaged as a player. And the gameplay itself, it functions, it works, but it's not, you know, like it's not like Spider-Man PS4 where it's like unique enough where I'm like 100% engaged into the gameplay and I'm like having fun with it. This game, I was kind of just like, you know, playing it and like enjoying myself and not like having like a super fun, great time with it. It just sucks that you know, leading up to the release of this game, no one was really that excited for it. Like maybe like a couple of like handful of people, but like there wasn't like a fan base around this game that was like, yo, this game's gonna be like really, really dope and really, really cool. But like, you know, once it finally came out, it kind of like proved everyone right that like this game wasn't exactly all that hot. And it sucks because I honestly thought that this game could have been good, but execution wise, it just wasn't there. Detroit Become Human. I never played a David Cage game. I've never played a Quantic Dreams game, let alone. So this was my first time jumping into a game like this. Obviously, I played, you know, Life is Strange, Telltale's Walking Dead, stuff like that, but I've never played a Quantic Dreams game. So I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And this game is honestly pretty good. I really enjoyed the story that it was going for, you know, how far will you go to be free? You know, are androids actually like human? Do they deserve like the same, you know, sort of treatment that humans do in this and that? Like, do they feel emotion like humans do? And depending on how you play the story out, you will find out. And the most unique part about this game is that there's literally a billion like choices and like combinations, and like by the end of the game, your playthrough will be unique from another person's, and that is just really, really cool, and I really like that. And yeah, if you haven't played the game and you are interested in it, because it is a, you know, it's a game where it's like, it's a obviously like choice-based game, like, you know, Telltale and like Life is Strange, but every single choice actually matters. And like, you know, by the end of the game, you'll have a unique ending from another person. Like there's a bunch of different endings to this game for all three of the characters. Connor, and I forget the other two characters' names. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I did a full game review on this game, so if you want to see my much more well-collected thoughts and much more extended thoughts, you can check that video out. Doom. I think I bought this 2 years ago at Black Friday or something like that. But yeah, Doom is really, really good. I haven't finished it, but from what I played, I could see why a lot of people really like this game. It is really, really fun. I cannot wait for the sequel, but I believe they delayed it recently, unfortunately, which sucks. It really, really sucks when a game does get delayed, but I understand because they need more time to make sure that the product that they release is really, really good. But yeah, from what I played of this version of Doom, it's pretty good. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now, I remember actually buying this game on Black Friday, probably like 3, maybe 4 years ago now. I'm not entirely sure. But this game is pretty much a Dragon Ball Z RPG. And it's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. You know, when I bought the game and I was playing it, it was pretty much taking up most of my time when it came to like my gaming and stuff like that. Like I would turn on my PS4 and just play this game. But obviously at a certain point, you know, I kind of got bored of it, got tired of it. I pretty much finished everything that I wanted to finish within the main story. But this game is pretty good. If you want like a, I'd say 8 to 10 hour, you know, game that you'll play that's within the Dragon Ball Z universe, and you could create your own character and do all of this fun like RPG stuff, this game is it. The new one, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot or something like that, I believe that one's going to be like an open world sort of thing, which is going to be really, really cool. So I could be wrong on that. I'm not entirely sure what kind of game that is, but it looks good. That's all I can really say. God of War 3 Remastered. Funny thing is that when I bought this game, I like instantly finished it because I really love God of War 3. I think God of War 3 is still my favorite God of War game, just because of how like fun it is in terms of gameplay. The story is pretty cool as well, where Kratos has to kill all of the gods, and yeah, like it is just a super fun game. Obviously, it is rated M, so like, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, it's God of War, hack and slash awesomeness. I really, really love it. It is super duper fun and cannot recommend it enough. Now that it is on the PS4, you know, the game lives on onto the next generation. Now we got the new God of War game. This new God of War game is very, very different from the previous games. For one thing, they changed up the gameplay style entirely, and then they bring Kratos into the Norse mythology world instead of Greek. So yeah, and now he has a son, Atreus, I believe that is his name. So yeah, there is a lot going on with God of War on the PlayStation 4. I'm not sure if I did a video on it, but if I did, you'll see it on your screen right now with the little eye. But yeah, God of War I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I can see why a lot of people are. This game is really good, but it's not like, you know, a 10 out of 10 experience in my opinion. The combat, it does have a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, it is pretty fun, especially since it's not just, you know, mashing your buttons. You actually have to like be strategic about your combat, which is really, really good. The story itself is pretty interesting, just because we are in a Norse mythology setting. But I think the sequel for this new God of War series is going to be a lot better and much more interesting in terms of story, just because of the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything, but just because of the ending. But yeah, God of War, it's a solid start to a new God of War series within the Norse mythology, but I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it is still a pretty good game. I guess I'll do both of these at the same time. Gravity Rush 1 and 2, they remastered Gravity Rush from the PlayStation Vita onto the PS4. They did a limited run of the physical releases on Amazon, I believe. This was a Amazon exclusive. You could only get this on Amazon for the physical edition, which is why this game is actually kind of expensive. I think it's like around $50 to $60 still. I could be wrong. But yeah, I bought it on Amazon, actually. I bought it used on Amazon for like $60, which I was like, hopefully it comes with the cover and everything, which it did. It came with the cover and it came with the disc, obviously, but I really want to try this series out just because it looks interesting. Like just the art style and the aesthetic, it just looks interesting and, you know, eye-catching to me. And then obviously they made a sequel for the PlayStation 4. I bought this at Best Buy when it was on sale for like $25 or something like that. Still sealed. I don't know if you could see that, but yeah, I have yet to play it. Obviously, because I want to, you know, obviously play the first one first before I jump into the sequel. Horizon Zero Dawn. This is a game that I didn't expect to be as good as it was when it came out, just because it wasn't really on my radar, because I was like, oh look, it's cool, like, you know, futuristic, you know, we got like robot dinosaurs and stuff like that, you know, like it looks interesting, but I wasn't like, you know, like watching it sort of thing. So when it came out and it was getting like all of these like really positive, really good reviews, I was like, maybe I really should check the game out. And then I think it went on sale or something like that, and then I finally picked it up. And I did take my time with this game. This game is kind of long. It is a open world game, so, you know, that is a given. But this was a game that I was pretty much on and off on when it came to like me playing it. So there would be, some weeks where I would play like 3 times a week, and then some other weeks I would play like once or whatever. But I did finish this game, and the story was a little confusing to me, and I'm not sure if it's because I wasn't fully paying attention or it was actually like kind of like all over the place. But the story itself, I wasn't, that big of a fan of. But the gameplay is super duper fun. I will give it that. I really did enjoy myself playing the game. I'm not sure if they're gonna make another one, but if they do, I would like to see what they could do in the sequel. But if this is just a standalone, just like one game, you should definitely check it out, especially if you're into open world games. And even if like the aesthetic and the art style and all of this stuff like, keeps you interested, you should definitely, give it a shot, because I think the game is pretty cheap nowadays. Life is Strange Before the Storm Limited Edition. The main reason I bought this was because as a pre-order bonus, I think I got these. So I was like, I just want these, but like I think I have to pre-order the limited edition. So I bought this on GameStop, and then I got the little figures as well, because I really like these. These are really cute. But anyways, Life is Strange Before the Storm is a prequel series to the main Life is Strange game. I saw what they were going for. It kind of works, it kind of doesn't. There are some things I wish that could have been more fleshed out, but they only had a certain amount of episodes to do it. But you know what? Life is Strange Before the Storm, it does do justice to Rachel's character, and I really think that this series kind of accomplished what it wanted to do, but maybe not fully. But overall, it is still a pretty good addition to the Life is Strange series, in my opinion. I'll leave the figures right there. Persona 5. I've never played this game because it is still sealed, but I hear a lot of great things about it. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to play this game anytime soon, but I really do want to try a Persona game, and supposedly this one is pretty good to start off with. Not just because Joker's in it, because Joker is in Smash Brothers, and that's how most people know Joker these days, but Persona 5 is supposedly a really good RPG, and I really want to try it out. You know, I'm always down to try new games, obviously, because, you know, you'll find out that, hey, now you like this new, you know, genre. Like, for example, Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. I never knew that I would like Fire Emblem, but that game I was like, damn, I really like Fire Emblem. But anyways, off my tangent. Persona 5, supposedly it's really good, and I have yet to play it because it is a billion hours long. Not actually, but it is a pretty long game because it is a RPG. Ratchet and Clank, they did a movie tie-in game for the movie. So yeah, and it was developed by Insomniac Games, which is pretty cool. But I'm not sure if Insomniac Games are ever going to return to Ratchet and Clank. I hope they do for like maybe one last one. Just because we've had so many Ratchet and Clank games, and I think Into the Nexus was like a pretty good like send-off for the series, but they did like this whole movie thing. So I'm not sure if they're gonna continue the story of Ratchet and Clank. I have no idea what they would do with those characters now. But anyways, with this game, it's pretty good gameplay-wise, story-wise. It's a retelling of the original Ratchet and Clank story. It doesn't stay faithful to the original story, which kind of sucks because the original story for the first game is really good, and I think that's why I really like Ratchet and Clank, was because they weren't friends at first, but this game makes it so they are friends at first. But I think it's because they have it so Captain Quark is telling the story, and Captain Quark didn't really know what their story was, I guess, but that's not really a good excuse to have it so they retell the story not in the same exact way, but in a much more, you know, kiddie-friendly version of the story. But anyways, the game itself, it's pretty good gameplay-wise. Story-wise, it is literally just based off of the movie. I don't know why why was Ratchet and Clank at the bottom? Anyways, that was definitely not alphabetical order because I have Infamous Second Son here, which honestly, I'm such a big Infamous fan. I can't even talk. I'm such a big Infamous fan. I bought the collector's edition before I even had a PS4. So like I had this game in my house for like a couple months before I bought my PS4. And once I bought my PS4, I definitely popped this game in. And honestly, it's kind of good. It's not like, you know, the best Infamous game. This is probably the weakest one out of the three. Infamous 2 being the best one on the PlayStation 3. But Infamous Second Son, I think, is still a pretty good you know, launch title for the PlayStation 4. It gets the Infamous stuff right with this new character, Delsin. I think, you know, they might not have hit the mark that they did with Cole, but you know what? This is still Infamous, and it is still really fun and really, you know, dope. Knack. I literally bought this game so I could do a video on it, and I did a video on it like maybe a whole year after I bought it or something like that. Like, I was sitting on this game for a very long time, and I literally just bought, and I literally was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just play Knack. Sorry for my language again, but screw it, I'm gonna just play Knack and just see how bad this game is. And the game is pretty bad. If you want my full thoughts on it as to why it's bad, you could check out my game review. But difficulty spikes, not really interesting story, there's a bunch of reasons why. Now I got a bunch of games that I haven't played here again. Kingdom Hearts. I have a lot of Kingdom Hearts games. So I have Kingdom Hearts, the story so far, which is pretty much every single Kingdom Hearts game leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah, I bought this because at the time it was going for a lot of money. Like this collection retailed for like 30-40 bucks. This was going for like $100. But nowadays it's like $20-30, which is obviously normal price for a game like this. But I think it was going for like $100 at the time because Kingdom Hearts 3 was like right around the corner and people wanted to like get like their, you know, refresher on the PlayStation 4 as soon as possible. So I could understand why the game was so expensive at the time. So when I found a copy of this game for kind of cheap at the time, 30-40 bucks, which is retail, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna buy it, because if it's like really expensive, you know, I have it as a collector's item, which is pretty cool. But Kingdom Hearts as a series, it's really hard for me to get into because there's like a billion games, and I'm a person that really likes story within video games, and the story within Kingdom Hearts is kind of confusing. And I bought Kingdom Hearts 3 because I was like, I want to support, you know, show Square that, yeah, we are thankful that Kingdom Hearts 3 is finally out. And, you know, I also thought that maybe I could jump into Kingdom Hearts 3 without knowing anything, which supposedly that is a really bad idea, so I'm glad I haven't opened the game yet. And then the last bit of Kingdom Hearts here is Kingdom Hearts 2.8. This is like the limited limited edition. I bought this on Amazon because they had like a glitch sale or something like that. This relates back to what game was it? Assassin's Creed Origin or something like that. But yeah, there was like a glitch sale on Amazon, which I was like, this game's pretty cheap and it's supposedly this much, so I bought it. And yeah, but nowadays resale on the 2.8 limited edition is like 30-40 bucks, which is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. I really love the Ultimate Ninja series, especially Storm. I think they did a pretty good job transitioning from the 2D sort of thing on the PlayStation 2 to the 3D stuff on PS3 and eventually multi-platform. But Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 is pretty good. If you played the other ones, you'll know what you're getting into pretty much. Yeah, it's a 3D fighter, 3D anime fighter. So there's that. Alright, I might get some smack for this, but Red Dead Redemption 2. This game was really hyped up, and I was kind of excited for it because I really like Red Dead 1. Like, that is by far one of my favorite games of the Xbox PS3 generation, without a doubt, 100%. Red Dead 2, however, I'm not a big fan of. There's a lot of things that Red Dead 2 does that I'm just like not all that into. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm over open world games or if it's because the story doesn't have me hooked in like the first game did. But I'm just not that big of a fan of this game, which is why I still have yet to finish it. Not just because it's long, but because I'm just not motivated to keep playing it. But yeah, I mean, like Nakey Jakey, he's a pretty good YouTuber. He did a whole video on Red Dead 2, which like I pretty much agree with every single point he makes within that video, because there are just so many weird things that they do within the game that just feels like it's just you going on this one path instead of like being like a open world, open Wild West sort of thing. You know, it's not like that, like at all. So. Resident Evil 2. This game came out this year, and I was pretty excited to jump into my first ever Resident Evil game, especially a survival horror, a survival horror game sort of thing, and this was a pretty good remake, I'm not gonna lie. It does a lot of things well when it comes to transitioning from a old school PS1 title to a now PlayStation 4 game. They did a pretty good job on the remaking department, but me playing the game itself, I'm pretty bad at Resident Evil 2 is what I found out, and I think I got stuck or I just got bored of the game. I'm not entirely sure which one came first, but yeah, it is a pretty good game. I can recognize that, but I'm just not that into it, I guess. Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is a game that I bought and I still have yet to play. The main reason I bought it was because I really like the original Tomb Raider that came out in like 2012, and this is the sequel to it, obviously. I think they came out with a third one, if I can recall correctly. But anyways, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I really want to play this game, but I still have yet to play it. So there's that, unfortunately. Here we go. Sonic Forces. Oh my god. When this game was being showcased, I was like, yo, this is like a much more darker Sonic story. Maybe they want to, try out a much more darker Sonic story for a change, because they've been having all of this, lighthearted stuff. And it turns out they didn't execute on that. Alright, let's see how the gameplay works. Oh, we have classic Sonic in here. I have no idea why he's in here. He's kind of just shoehorned it into the plot. I have much more collective thoughts on this game in a full game review, but pretty much this game is not good. Anyone that says it is good, that's their, that's their opinion. In my opinion, this game is not all that good, especially the custom hero stuff. Like that custom hero stuff, I'm just like, why did they do this? It's very weird, it's very interesting, and the way they did it was just not my cup of tea. And the modern Sonic stuff wasn't even all that good either, and obviously the classic Sonic stuff wasn't that good either, because he was kind of just shoehorned in it. And this game just feels like it just wasn't polished or anything like that. Like obviously like they took their time with it, but like the final product that they gave us just wasn't all that good. So like there's not like glitches or anything like that like within like Sonic 06, but like it's just not a fun game. Spider-Man PS4, this is my game of the year of last year. This game is perfect, honestly. I was pretty harsh on the story department, but honestly, the story for this game is really good. When I rethink about it and like, took a step back and like re-evaluated this game's story, this is honestly a really good Spider-Man story. there's conflict between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, which is what makes a really good Spider-Man story, and it just happens throughout the entire game, and you see it unfold, and it is really, really good. The gameplay, obviously, you feel like Spider-Man is what everyone memes about, but like for real, you feel like Spider-Man, and it is awesome, and it is super satisfying to play this game. And I almost 100%ed the main game, but I need to 100% the DLC still, which I might still do before the year closes out. But yeah, like this game is just super good, and even like the DLC stuff is like pretty decent. Obviously the screwball missions, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you get to it, you'll know that stuff sucks, but hey, the game is still pretty good, honestly. The Spyro Reignited Trilogy. I still have yet to open it. As you can see, I still really want to play the original Spyro games because I have never finished any of them. Honestly, I've never finished any of them because I've never played 2 or 3. I've only played the first one and I've never finished it. But supposedly this is a pretty faithful remaster, which is pretty good, honestly. That is awesome to see that they were able to do it again in Sanzaru Games. Like when I bought this game, and I saw Sanzaru Games on the back. If you guys don't know, Sanzaru Games developed Sly Cooper 4 Thieves in Time, which Sly Cooper is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. So when I saw Sanzaru on here, I was like, huh, why are they on here? So supposedly they were running out of time, so they handed off Spyro 3 to Sanzaru, and I think Sanzaru Games developed the 3rd game or something like that. I'm not entirely sure if that's true or like if that's 100% fact, because that's just something I remember reading, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So Spyro 3 was developed by Sanzaru Games, or like Sanzaru Games had a part in it. Anyways, that game supposedly, or the 3rd game is supposedly like kind of buggy and stuff like that, which might explain why. But anyways, Spyro, the Reignited Trilogy, supposedly pretty good in terms of being a remake. Tearaway Unfolded. Every single time I play this game, I have a good time with it, and then I put it down, and then I forget how to play. And then every single time I restart it, and then I'm like, I'm kind of bored again. But the game is pretty good, honestly. Like, it is a really, really good platformer, and I really enjoy the aesthetic, the art style, the graphics, everything about the game I really enjoy, but I just have yet to finish it. I'm not exactly sure why is that. It might just be me. It's definitely not the game, because the game itself is pretty good, but I just have yet to finish it, and I really want to, because the game is honestly not all that long, but I don't know. I have no idea what it is, but there's that. Tearaway Unfolded. Tricky Towers. This is a game I play a lot on PC with me and my friend, and I bought it on the PS4 because we actually don't play it on the PS4, we play it on PC, but I bought it on the PS4 because I want a physical version of the game, because like I said earlier, I love physical media. But supposedly when I was researching, the game is honestly kind of rare and kind of expensive. So I was like, maybe I should buy it while I'm at GameStop for like 20 bucks. And it turns out the game actually is just 20 bucks. So whoever bought the game for like $50, $60 on eBay, you really got scammed. But anyways, the game is really good. It's pretty much Tetris, but with physics. And it's competitive as well. And it's super duper fun. And I really, really like it. This is one of the indie games that I honestly wish I played when it came out, but I just didn't. And this game is super fun, especially if you have like a lot of friends and you want to play like a puzzle, a puzzle versus game. This is really good. So there's that. Let me just knock all these out at the same time. I got the Uncharted games here. So we got the Nathan Drake Collection, which is all 3 games from the PlayStation 3 on the PS4. This is a pretty good, pretty much HD-ifying it more on the PlayStation 4. I really enjoyed replaying all 3 of these games on the PlayStation 4. Really, really fun. Especially since you got access to the Uncharted 4 multiplayer, which I think I didn't play because I'm not all that interested in the multiplayer anyways. Anyways, I'm trying to find new words to say that aren't the same 5. But Uncharted as a series, in terms of the trilogy, is pretty good. Uncharted 2 is still my favorite out of these 3 games. Uncharted 1 is a pretty good, foundation. Uncharted 2 just takes it to the next level in terms of story and gameplay. Uncharted 3 is more of the same with just different story, but more or less the same gameplay. Now, Uncharted 4, I honestly did not expect them to make a 4th game. I honestly thought it was kind of unnecessary for them to jump back into Uncharted, but Neil Druckmann was the creative director behind this, I believe, and I was like, let's see what he can do in terms of actually closing the Uncharted series out like fully, and he did a fantastic job of it. Story-wise, gameplay-wise, all that stuff. This is probably my favorite Uncharted game out of the 4. Out of the 3, Uncharted 2. Out of the 4, however, Uncharted 4 is really, really good, and I really enjoyed my time with it, and I cannot fathom as to how they actually did it, because, you know, Uncharted 3 was a pretty good ending, honestly, but they just had to extend the story, and they found a way to do it, and do it in a way that actually made sense. So, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, really, really good. Uncharted, A Lost Legacy, however. This is a spin-off game. It focuses on Chloe, and I forget her name. She's one of the new characters. Nadine, I believe? Yes, Nadine. So Chloe and Nadine. It's pretty much a game on them. I did a full review on it, but it's whatever. It's not, you know, necessary for you to play as a Uncharted fan, but if you want more Uncharted action, I guess, this is a single-player game that you can play, and it's alright. It's not, you know, amazing, but it's definitely the weakest Uncharted game, just because it is a sort of like prequel, sequel sort of thing. Vampire. This is a game I really want to play, because this is from the people that developed Life is Strange, Don't Nod, and supposedly the game's pretty good, but when it came out, no one was really talking about it, and then afterwards, once people actually like played it, they were like, hey, this game's actually like pretty good as like a vampire game. But I opened it, and I had the intention of playing it, but I have actually never played it yet, so hopefully one day I will. Watch Dogs. This game is still sealed. I don't know if you can notice, but I bought this game when it was really, really cheap. And I mean, like, this was before Watch Dogs 2 was even announced or released. So, I bought this game when it was like $10, because I was like, Watch Dogs can't be that bad, but it's just the fact that when leading up to the release, the game looked a lot better than it did, and like it did certain things that the game doesn't do now, and there was like a whole controversy on it, but I was like, this game can't be that bad, right? So, but I still have yet to play it, so maybe I'll just buy Watch Dogs 2 if I ever want to play Watch Dogs, but I still have the first one. Last game here, Yooka-Laylee. This was part of another, I think, Amazon price sale sort of thing, where it was like super cheap, but like it wasn't supposed to be. So I think I bought this along with Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, supposedly this game is pretty good, according to my friend Damien. We talked about it on the podcast. My podcast is the Travis and Damien podcast. But yeah, we talked about it for a little bit, because I think a lot of people were really blowing this game out of proportion in terms of being like a bad game. The game is honestly not all that bad. It's just that it's not Banjo-Kazooie, and it's not better than Banjo-Kazooie. So that's just from my understanding. I have yet to play it myself. I did open it, because I did have the intention of playing it and doing a video on it, which I still might. But yeah, Yooka-Laylee, I hope they make another one, but they might need to do another Kickstarter, depending on how much money Playtonics want and need for the sequel of the actual like Yooka-Laylee game. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, that is my entire PlayStation 4 collection. It is 38 minutes long, and that is pretty long for a PS4 collection. I pretty much have most of the games that I want, but I cannot wait for more games to come out, such as obviously The Last of Us 2. I have The Last of Us 1 on my PS4, but I'm not going to talk about that game because I've already talked about that game enough. But yeah, this is my entire PlayStation 4 collection. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys haven't already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up on Saturdays. If you guys want to follow my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter, I try to put updates of my future videos on there. And yeah, I think that is about it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.